This is a man who may have saved more human lives than anyone in history. Over 1 billion of them. He did it not with medicine or a treaty, but with wheat. And almost nobody knows his name. This is the story of Norman Borlaug. To understand what he did, you have to feel the fear of the time. In the 1960s, the world's population was exploding, and food was not keeping up. Serious experts predicted that hundreds of millions of people were about to starve to death, and that nothing could stop it. It felt like simple maths. Picture 2 lines. One is the number of mouths to feed climbing fast. The other is how much food the world could grow almost flat. Every year the gap between them got wider, and the wider it got, the more people would go hungry. The planet was heading for a wall. Now meet the unlikely man who changed that. Norman Borlaug was born on a small farm in Iowa in 1914. He grew up through the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl, watching families go hungry. He worked his way through college, and instead of chasing money, he became a plant scientist. His enemy would be hunger itself. Here is the puzzle he had to crack. If you give normal wheat lots of fertilizer, it grows a big, heavy head of grain. But the tall, thin stalk can't hold that weight, so the plant flops over onto the ground and rots. Farmers call it lodging. It meant you could not just feed the plants more to grow more. In 1944, Borlaug went to Mexico to fix it, and he did the least glamorous thing imaginable. He got into the fields himself, in the sun, and crossed wheat plants by hand, thousands upon thousands of them, hunting for stronger, disease-resistant kinds. It was slow, brutal, unglamorous work. Then he had a clever idea nobody had tried. He grew his wheat at 2 sites in Mexico at once, one in the cool north, one in the warm south, in opposite seasons. That let him grow 2 generations of wheat every year instead of 1, doubling his speed. As a bonus, the wheat learned to thrive almost anywhere. The real breakthrough came from a Japanese wheat with a dwarfing gene. Borlaug bred it into his lines, and it changed everything. The new wheat was short and stocky, with a thick stalk. It could carry a huge, heavy head of grain without ever falling over. Short wheat, more food. The lodging problem was solved. The results were staggering. Mexico, which used to import much of its wheat, started growing enough to feed itself and sell the surplus. By 1963, its wheat harvest was about 6 times what it had been when Borlaug arrived. A country that feared hunger was now an exporter. Then came the moment everything was built for. In the late 1960s, India and Pakistan were on the very edge of mass famine. Borlaug shipped his dwarf wheat there and fought through war, borders, and doubt to get it into the ground in time. It was a race against starvation, with hundreds of millions of lives on the line. It worked. In just a few years, wheat harvests in India and Pakistan nearly doubled. The famine that everyone had predicted simply did not happen. Whole nations pulled back from the edge, and hundreds of millions of people who were supposed to starve ate instead. Add up Mexico, India, Pakistan, and everywhere his wheat spread, and scholars credit Norman Borlaug with saving over 1 billion lives. 1 billion. That is not a typo, and it may be more people than any single human being has ever saved. In 1970, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Not for ending a war, but for feeding the world, because a world with bread is a world with fewer reasons to fight. He is one of only a handful of people ever to win the Nobel, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and the Congressional Gold Medal. We checked this against the Nobel records, his biographies, and the history of the Green Revolution. In presenting his prize, the committee said, quote, "More than any other single person of this age, he has helped provide bread for a hungry world." So here is the strange part. A man saves 1 billion lives, and yet you can walk down any street, and almost no one can name him. There is no blockbuster, no holiday, no statue in the town square. He spent his life in the mud of a wheat field, and the people he saved will never know he existed. Norman Borlaug kept working into his 90s and died in 2009. He never wanted the fame, so maybe this is his monument. The next time you hold a loaf of bread, remember that a quiet farm boy from Iowa may be the reason it, and you, are here at all. If that moved you, subscribe. There is a new hand-drawn, fact-check story like this every couple of days. I'm really glad you're here.